This is another episode of Shooting with Shooters, and we're here. It's a special episode of Shooting with Shooters. This is one to highlight a mural project that we just recently did this year called Celebrating Melanin and Black History. Shared that moment with a few photographers, all from the area of DC or based in the area. Two of them are right here. Actually, three of them, including myself. But one of them that we're going to talk about today is none other than my co-host and brother, James Anthony.
Oh,
What's going on, James? Welcome to the show.
So you know what's crazy, Bryon? He's actually like, I feel like he's one of my favorite photographers. So this is like, it's
He's
dope
top five.
talking to somebody that you just really just appreciate and admire their work. It's one of those situations.
Yeah.
Look, I appreciate y'all, and we always talk about each other's work. We're all mutual fans. Yeah, you got some right, Dayo. We're one of each other's favorite photographers. So, I mean, we're pretty dope.
Yeah. So, in these episodes, it's 5 photographers all involved in this project, but in this episode, we're focusing on you, James, and we want to discuss a few things, talking about everything from your style to your selection process to your motivation, inspiration, and so on and so on. It's so much. We had these conversations all the time, but this time we want to focus on a set of images, 5 images that you chose for this particular project.
Yeah, man, we're really excited. Got to hear about all of these.
Yeah, man, it's just when Bryon, you mentioned that you wanted to showcase, Black photographers, what we see and how we see through our eyes, how we capture our work, and what motivates us to, especially to submit the work into the exhibit. And I just knew I wanted it to incorporate images that I either had up in my home or images that when I think about it, they move me in some type of way. And images that I felt like I took at a time where I was being transformed based off of the experiences I was actually, going through. So I incorporated photos from my travels to Kenya, to Haiti. I definitely felt like those trips, I kind of evolved as a person just based off the experience that I had. Mm. And it was ever so slightly, but it was one of those things that you'll never forget. And so, yeah, I just wanted to showcase that. I photographed someone who accomplished something amazing as far as visiting every country in the world. An amazing feat for one of the first Black women to ever do it. I captured one of the co-hosts here, Dayo, and his 2 boys.
Forever memories.
I was able to merge that with James Shoots and Draws, so it was just being able to showcase the work, bro. Like, I think that's what Bryon, when you brought it to us, I was like, man, that's dope. And for one, it's dope that you brought the tribe with you.
Yeah.
Feel that.
That's the standard. That's the standard we set, though.
The We Love You project. It was dope, and to go to DC and Union Market to see these blown up images of these Black men, that was an amazing thing. So when it comes back to the showcasing of the work, you came to the home team, Black Lives Matter. So, thank you. But yeah, just showcasing it, and even when I went to do the little video montage that I did, people saw me setting up the tripod, and they were like, "Yo, did you shoot that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did." Like, "Oh man, let me get your info." So even if they're on the spot, people were intrigued and, run, give me your card. You have a card? Yeah. So yeah, it was just a cool experience. And then being on social media and then having random people tag you in posts and stories because they're moved by your work and they like what the exhibit is about. I think that was one of the dopest experiences from having the images out there like that.
Yeah, it's definitely a big business card. Really big business card. Yeah, man. Like Dayo mentioned, I believe we all here admire each other's work. You look to each other for inspiration, and advice. When it comes to getting our work better. And your travels, I always think about that whenever I think about James. Even in our earlier iteration of Shooting with Shooters, if you weren't on the show, it's for if we weren't on the show, it's for a very good reason. Period. Period. Is whether it's a kid being born or we're out of the country or something. So I'm looking here at two images. And definitely let me know the names and more about the people. But it's two images in here that have travel in it. As soon as you see water and clear blue water. So if you live in America, unless you live in Miami, that's not down the street.
Yeah, man, that was actually in Haiti, and that was I was on a trip with Global Jet Black, and founded by Jessica Nabongo, who is one of the first Black women to travel to every country in the world. She has this travel company where they like to take small groups of people to experience places within the world that have been affected by the African diaspora through the slave trade. And Haiti was one of those places that we went. This was my first time going to Haiti. And where I took these two men fishing, they were actually on a boat while we were pretty much crossing the water from Haiti to a smaller island. And they were just doing their thing. And I just thought the juxtaposition from these dark-skinned men and they're out there doing work against that turquoise blue water was beautiful. And I wanted to capture that. And also something to kind of memorialize the experience that I was having. Because a lot of times when we see things, we're like, oh man, that water was so beautiful. Dayo, that time when we went out to Tobago,
the water we could stand in the middle of the ocean. That's all I was thinking about.
Exactly. So
yeah.
When you have those images, they last forever, opposed to the memory that can sometimes slowly fade after some time. So I wanted to capture these men at work. And the cool thing about it too, there were young boys in a boat with older men, so clearly they were being taught, how to continue.
Teach a man to fish.
Yeah, exactly. Continue the process. So I just thought it was a moment. It was beautiful visually. And it was one of those things that made me say, hey, no matter what hardships Haiti goes through, they have the most resilient people. And these resilient people are Black people.
I think that's one of the coolest things from when you first started talking about the project. You were like, since I was down there, a goal of mine was to make Haiti look as beautiful as it is. Right. And, those words stuck with me because you essentially said that as a photographer, it's your job to present a place how other people should see it.
Right.
And you took that seriously. And I remember some of the views and things you were capturing, that wasn't what I was receiving when I was getting information about Haiti from CNN, the news, the earthquakes that had just happened, all those type of moments. That's not what I was receiving. But you were able to show, okay, they're thriving. And I think it's important to show Black people thriving, change the narrative, understand that, there's levels to this. And you did a great job doing that, man, as usual.
Appreciate that. Yeah. And to piggyback off of what you said, I would come back to the States and I would literally have people messaging me or people that I was into in person, not even knowing their background. They're like, bro, I saw your page.
Yeah. IT boys.
Yeah, you made me proud to be Haitian because you showcase our country so beautifully. And America has some shithole places. There's some things that we're not taking care of at home. So
right.
for the world to only think of a country in one light is a disservice.
Right.
That would be unfair to us. That would be unfair. It's unfair to them. Just because, Haiti has been through a lot, but they have the most resilient people. And geographically, the island is so amazing because you have, there's a part of the island that's a little like a desert. Then there's mountainous, there's beach, so you have these different climates on such a small island. And Haiti is just a beautiful place. The people are beautiful. In culture, enriching culture. But unfortunately, where they lie, they've just been through a lot of natural disaster. And what I learned about Haiti being out there on how they fought for their freedom And even though, like, I just gained a new respect for the country altogether. So yeah, I just wanted to continue my experience and just capture these people in these beautiful lights and these beautiful settings.
So typically, when we take pictures of people, there's an old phrase that, a photographer is taking a piece of your soul when he's taking your picture. It's a saying that, well, the photographer is also giving a piece of his soul when he's taking a picture. And I really, I never took the chance to think about that, but we're giving of ourselves, outward, open.
Right.
Take this. It's part of me. And right. I'm not going to forget that. So, yeah.
Right. And then when I feel, James, in these shots, you had to honor your journey, so you saw Haiti in that light. You wanted to capture the best that you could, how you saw it, and you wanted to share, your love for that moment, for that place. And, I think that's a part of that exchange as well, of like giving a piece of your soul to it. But with the We Love You project, it was, something that people were able to, participate in, but it was also my chance to honor those people and to paint them in the best light, because again, media will take your worst light and put that in the forefront. So
I'm Nigerian, man, them commercials from the 90s had Africa just looking like
it's one tree
place on earth.
One tree in all Africa.
Just kids with the flies on their faces, just roaming down the street. Now, granted, these things happen, right? But just like stories that come out of America, American movies, books, you show the ghetto and you show the millionaires and the people in between. So if you're going to push narrative, you got to push it all out there, right? Tell all the stories so we can really grasp what a place is like, or, who's there.
Right.
That's a lesson that I feel like a lot of us are, especially our generation. It was almost like you had a hood pulled from over your head. You're like, oh, so y'all were lying to us. Essentially, it's lying.
Up.
You know what I'm saying? It's by omission, because you are not giving us the whole story. You're not showing us these countries are rich in culture and they have metropolises and you know what I'm saying? Like, you're only showing us a one-dimensional people. And when you do that, just like when I travel to certain places in the country, my nigga, rap, Kanye West,
and that's all they got.
Yeah, literally. I go to Tokyo and not saying
wow.
Tokyo is cut off, but certain groups of people, the first thing they think you are is either an athlete or a rapper.
What else are you doing here?
Yeah.
Exactly. What else do you do? And they think that my nigga is the way to talk to you. And again, if that's all you're showing, our media, we always show, the black people doing the crimes, or when you do show popular shows, now it's different just because it's, so many streaming shows that show the good, the dark, the bad, the ugly. But yeah, we really need to, as shooters, photographers, we need to make sure we show the beauty. If you're going to show the grit, show the beauty as well.
Indeed.
A word.
Speaking of beauty.
Speaking of beauty.
You shoot a lot of models and a lot of high fashion. And one of the people that you chose to include in this series, we actually also went to high school with. And she's somebody that I actually was one of the first people that I looked at within my peer circle that was actually a model, but yeah, like it's
okay, you're right.
Yeah, no, it's actually weird because, like, again, like I didn't know her that well until I went to college and realized that, she went to Roosevelt. But then I see James, you shot her, and I'm like, okay.
If James shoots her, she's stamped.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, she a model.
Yeah, you are referring to Diddy Bop, our good friend Diane Tacky from Eleanor Roosevelt, class of 02. And yeah, Diddy, I would probably say she's one of if not the most, no, I'll say she's like my second longest client. And I've done multiple shoots with her. She's rocked with me, and actually, I'm always shooting her in DC. Even after I moved away, majority of the shots that we or the majority of the shoots that we did together, they were always on my trips up there. I just shot her engagement photos. So yeah, it's just
the keyword is client, James.
Yeah.
You know, and that, you know, if anybody, you know, people are listening, that means she takes care of my guy for the quality of his work. I actually assisted you on a shoot with her before.
Yeah, like, and it means a lot too when you get to photograph a person through milestones in their life.
Yeah.
You know, I've had clients where I've shot the wedding, I've shot the maternity photos, I've shot the newborn, and then, you know, Dayo, I know you can understand that. And so with Diddy, it's just going through her whole matriculation of life, really, shooting her earlier model shots, and then she graduates, she gets her doctorate.
With the
Yeah, so for medical school, so I photographed that, and then I photographed her engagement. So who knows what's to come, but yeah, she rocked out for that shoot. I wanted to go Black Pride driven. The Carrie Henderson was the stylist for that shoot, and I'm trying to think who was makeup. Fifi. She's actually out in Texas right now, but she used to be in the DMV. But yeah, we had a great time during that shoot. Probably one of my most retweeted, my most loved photos from my fans, I guess, from the fans of my work. They love that photo, and no matter how many times I post it, it's always relevant. And that's one thing I love about that photo. No matter how many, if you post that photo 10 years from now, it'll still be relevant because the African print never dies out. Those names will always be relevant in history. So
Yeah.
that photo will never get
the way you talked about it, man, we'll make sure that it's always relevant. I mean, that's real what you said.
Yeah.
You know, we can look at photos from the 70s and 60s where you're looking at, you know, the power and energy behind certain people, and you can always feel it. I think that's special. That's something special in photography for sure.
You know what I look forward to, but I can definitely wait on. When we look back at this photo and can tell, oh, we was rocking that back in the 2000s, you know, and that was like 2000, like really good fashion back then. It's like going through a museum now, looking at, oh man, they were clean in the 70s. You know, you might want to travel in time and go back to the 70s, but you know, not for that, not for the climate, but for the fashion.
It's happening now, bro.
It's definitely happening.
I posted some picture from 2000, the mid 2010s, I guess, early 2000. Anyway, we had tall tees. I had the flip phone on the side, and you know you had to put the tall tee over. You know, it had to be tucked so everybody could see what kind of phone you had. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. We're stamped.
One image I want to move on to is the one of the young lady, and she's flipping her hair up. I wanted you to speak more about that. That one was powerful. I love motion in shots. We can segue from that into another one after this, speaking about motion. But let's just talk about this young lady.
Yeah, this was when we were off. We had visited. This is with Global Jet Black, and this is when we had visited Kenya. We landed in Nairobi, and then we took about a 2-hour or so trek to the Masai Mara conservation, as far as where the safari is and the Masai tribe. And after that, we took a trip. There you go. We took a trip to Lamu, which is an island off the coast of Kenya.
I love Kenyans, man.
Oh my God, beautiful. The food so good, and when we got to this house, the house was again beautiful, and there were about maybe 8 or 10 of us attending on the trip. And I sat Chris down and I said, "Yo, let me just get a shot of you by the pool." And I'm looking right now because I have it literally posted up above the TV in our home. But I just said, "Yo, I just want you to flip your hair back." And I think with the architecture, it gives a vibe too, you know, because kind of with those arch doorways, gives you a vibe. It's in black and white, and looking at the photo, you don't know who she is, but again, like you said, it almost, it's like I can look at it in 2 ways. I can see it as a plant almost, see her hair as like flames.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So, but then I also look at him as kind of like a Medusa, kind of like a goddess. When I look at that photo, it gives me various things when I look at the motion in her hair. But yeah.
Who is she, bro?
She was one of the young ladies that attended the trip.
You know what's crazy? So whenever I look at this picture, I think of her as a little girl.
I always thought I keep saying young lady. I was gonna ask you how old is she?
Yeah, this is you tripping me out.
Age range.
You're saying like it's one of the people that came on the trip?
Yeah, man. Look, she was at least 21. I know that.
Oh, I thought it was like a little girl like that was one of the because in my country we have you might have if you're of an upper class or whatever, you have a compound, a nice place. You'll have people working there like a gate guy, a guy who runs the gate. You have like a cook guy, and you might have a house girl, which is essentially the girl that just runs around and does whatever is needed. She reminded me of like a house girl that would be in like Nigeria or something like that.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, but that was one of the things we kind of were joking on the trip about. We're like, how old are you again? Can you drive? I'm on a trip with her in Kenya, and about a year and a half later, we end up on another trip with Global Jet Black, and we're in Cali, Colombia. And I'm on a trip with her sister. Same thing. Like they just got really good genes. They look very youthful. So yeah.
So James, I'm a big fan of alignment. I like when things are aligned. I like symmetry. I like lines. And there's an image you have. We were talking about different countries and things of that nature. But there's an image of Jessica in a pool.
Yes.
Turned a little bit to the side so you could see her profile, but she's aligned with this mountain. And the synergy behind her being a mountain and of a rock of a person that has done this great feat and having this mountain in the distance is heat, bro. And once again, that melanin on the water is something special too, man. Tell us about the picture.
Yeah, so this was a trip that I took with Jessica Nabongo and Onika, who is also a world traveler. You can check her out on Instagram. Both very dope women. They were both on a journey. Onika, not necessarily to travel to every country, but at this time, Jessica, this was one of her islands that she was knocking off the list. So we visited Antigua. And Antigua is a beautiful place. It's expensive as far as like, don't go there and expect things to be cheaper than where it is in America. But you're going to pay for what you want. Beautiful place, the water, again, like you said, Dayo, her skin contrasts to that blue and that mountain. Just the infinity pool that actually was Cocoa Bay Resort. Shout out to Cocoa Bay Resort.
Cocoa Bay, what up? What's up?
Yeah, Jessica, she flew me out to that island to meet them there to kind of photograph their journey and to show how two Black women can be kind of on the same quest and not necessarily have to be rivals, just to kind of, and then that was the big thing where it was just like, it was collaborate, not compete, so it was a really dope experience. And yeah, when she was in that infinity pool, it moved me. I was like, yo, Jess, stay right there, turn to the side. So when I think about trips like that, again, that photo to me, 20, 50 years from now, there's no fashion involved. It's symmetrical. It's like a travel image. So
shout out to anybody who is patient enough for us that when we say, yo, wait right there. Wait a second.
Just trust
hold up, I see something. Yo, those people you're the real MVP because I know it happens to us daily.
So, it made me think of again, I guess it's those images that we associate with destinations, right? And I don't know if this is like, but you said this is this was Haiti, right?
No, this the photo with Jessica that was in
Antigua. Yeah, that's why I smile. But no. So again, I mentioned that because it's an image of Jamaica. You might think of. I think it's this one girl. She's got on this like Jamaican T-shirt. She's getting out of like a
It's on the cover of Reggae Gold, man.
It's a classic shot. I have no idea who that woman is, but that's Jamaica women. And you know, as a kid, you see that you're like, oh snap, that's Jamaica. You know, but in a different way, this image, you know, it's like, oh wow. When you're thinking about like the melanin and the beauty and like, you know, even like the low cut in the mountain, it again.
Whew. He is the mountain. Listen, bro, did you send this over to the Antigua Travel Authority or no?
No, I didn't send it there, but
Feel like it's time to sell this thing.
Yeah, the resort put us up, so the resort put us up, so they definitely featured the photo, especially since it was taken on their property. But yeah, it is actually it was reposted by many travel pages back when we posted it. Especially it was this one photo of all three of us sitting with the water behind us, all on a tub, and I think we had on all white, but. That was,
I remember that one. It's fire.
Yeah, that was some love. Got a lot of love from that.
Yo, it's crazy. Yo, Bryon. Yo, you see this guy's face? He's literally remembering the likes and the comments. He really just took a step back and was like, man, they gonna got a lot of love. You know, we have a system now that can literally track the love.
Oh yeah. Where is the love? Is right here in the analytics.
Adversely, you can go to a picture and you don't get no love.
You get no love.
And then you always go back and remember it. Damn, I got no love.
Be like, damn, I got one like on that picture. So one image that I want to go ahead and segue to that definitely has a familiar face, three familiar faces, but one definitely familiar to the show. None other than Dayo Kosoko. But James, you shot this, and you actually used. Actually, earlier I wanted to segue from another image that showed motion because you have some elements from James Shoots and Draws. You have some elements from James Shoots and Draws in this actual shot. Can you speak more about this shot with Dayo and the Kosoko boys?
Yeah, the Kosoko boys. This was. It's funny. It's kind of like an inside joke that ended up being part of a series. And it's a series, of course, James Shoots and Draws has already existed, but then there was one year I wanted to kind of put a spotlight on Mother's Day. So I did a series with moms and their children. And then I wanted to do one on Father's Day to show that feeling I had particularly was to show Black men and their children. And I wanted to just get about 8 to 10 Black fathers, show them with their children. And Dayo, I was like, yo, Dayo's been asking me for a James Shoots and Draws. Bryon,
he'll need another one.
Yo, so I was like, all right, so how about I include them in this? Because it was like killing multiple birds with one stone. I mean, not to say like it was a task or anything, but it was something that would kind of snowball like volumes, just because that whole series did so well, featured in publications and retweeted so many times, just because the visual behind seeing these Black fathers with their children laughing, smiling, joyous Black men enjoying and being present. I think that resonated with a lot of people. So I just love the love that I received. And I'm just happy that my boy could be a part of it. So when it came to showcasing them, I was like, yo, how dope is that? I knew I wasn't going to do 2 just because it's both of y'all. I shot both of y'all and your children. But the Kosoko Dayo was like, hey, I think that I would love to see it. And I was like, bro, I'm tripping. Yeah, I would definitely put that in one of my 5 for the joint, just because, again, he was you're the only one that had 2 kids. No. Lance had 2 kids. But,
really?
Yeah, Lance had 2, a boy and a girl. But
hey, man, to be in the same photo series as my alter ego. Yeah. Good looks.
But yeah, so it's Kosoko boys, a lot of energy in that one. Man, that was a day. I won't even go.
Well, and you know, like James tells me, that's the best shot from the day. from the shoot. I mean, I really love it because it was taken in my photo studio. Like, it was taken in my studio. James came through. We got it done, and you know, we had a moment, man.
Yeah. That was a funny day. That was a good day.
I know how active they are, and I'm just seeing Lonnie and Soji, or Lonnie really just being like super active. And James, I love like it's subtle, you know, compared to other James shoots and draws.
Very so.
You know, and I'm seeing the evolution of that as well. Coming from stills to actually like motion and animation. But as subtle as this is, it doesn't need any more than that, because just Dayo's like alertness, you know, being like, you know, you used to play a Metal Gear Solid. You get the little, you know, it was like that going on, and then the classic, you know, accents around like Soji's feet. It just shows, you know, I like the way that it's implying that he's, you know, doing whatever he needs to do to climb over Daddy or to get to Soji, you know, whatever it is that, you know, he's trying to accomplish right here.
You know what else I like about this photo? If you didn't know Dayo, if you saw that photo alone it would give you a little bit of the energy that Dayo has, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I like about that photo. Like, in that moment, you're like, yo, this dude is a personality.
Yo, it's crazy, man. You know, we talk about timing things and what photos do. And, you know, I remember that photo because, like, Soji couldn't even walk at that point. You know what I mean? And I just remember, like, holding him. And I'm like, bruh, you know, give us something, you know? And then Lonnie just started crying, man. Just crying and turning up. And I was just like, James, let's just snap, bro. I said, we got to keep it real. So this is, you know, this is what it's like. Some people had the perfect,
yeah,
you know, all types of stuff. And I was like, I wanted something like really cool with both of them, but it just wasn't happening. It worked out perfectly, yo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's one thing. Usually when you have kids that young, you're trying to get them to be perfect. But a lot of times when I'm shooting kids that young, I'm like, yo, like encapsulate this moment right here. Show them being a kid and how disruptive they were, because the better photo. And you know, it's a story to tell always. And when you said, yo, just take the photo, and I was like, oh shit, if I don't have to make sure they're like perfect, then this is gonna be easy. And it turned out to be a great shot. So yeah, that was fun.
I love it because it's like, you know, you might think, well, excuse me, when you hear the word portrait, you might think it's just tight shot of somebody, but that's a portrait of the moment. So again, that moment is definitely you know, captured, you know, forever. And I look forward, again, I can wait, but I look forward to looking at that image when, you know, the boys are graduating, you know, or going off to school, or starting, you know, the next iteration of the Kosoko enterprise. So
Bryan's just giving our time away, man. Golly. I'm not thinking about graduation, Bryan. I'm trying to potty train, man.
Look, man.
And plus, we waiting on James to catch up anyway. We chilling.
Yeah, you look. Yeah, we were.
Hey, you know I'm the wild card out here, man. We out here waiting, man.
Yeah, man. We're not getting any younger, and ain't trying to be 65 at their high school graduation.
Right, exactly.
I used to see those parents. I'm like, yo, is that your grandpa?
I honestly feel like I'm probably in that category. It's like,
really
not like the old geezer dad, like the accidental dad, but like the average older parent. You know, the parent that's it should be more mature because they like 30 when the kid's in kindergarten, but the new parents like 21, 18. Like, actually, wait a minute, you 18, you got kindergarten, you wildin', but still.
Well, what am I? What am I then, Bryan?
You're a mature parent. We're in the same boat.
All right, cool.
We're in the same boat.
Oh, James, don't do that, boy. I already got the grays, man. But you know what? You know what's cool? Let's be real. It's cool because we all look great. We look young. We look amazing. And black don't crack, man. You know, somebody the other day thought I was 26. So if you believe it or not. You know what I mean?
I find it hard to believe because of the grays, but you don't got no wrinkles.
Yeah. Look, and people always, I'm always looking at photos of myself, and Rose is always like, yo, you think you look 36? I'm like, hell yeah, I look 36. I'm like,
I don't think so.
36.
Look, I'm gonna tell you this. My nephew, when he was in high school, I used to go up to the school to help him with like some after school classes, right? But I was almost 30. I was 28, 29, something like that. But I was still wearing a book bag, and that's my everyday attire. And in the city, you walk around, you got all your stuff in your bag. So I had my book bag on, and I go into the school, and I'm thinking, man, I got this bag on. These folks gonna think I'm a student. No,
No.
no. Get that youth out of your head. It's like we're too young, but we don't look like no spring chicken. I earned this. I earned every last one of these grades.
We look tired too. So if you look, you think it's your normal look because you've had it for so long.
Look.
But we look like we seen some shit.
Look.
We look like, we look like we've been through some shit. I look like my man back here.
Look, when the kids see us now, they look like they've been through some protests.
Like he looked 30. That's a millennial. Dayo the mask. So
was my age when I was born, so I couldn't imagine being a grandfather right now.
Bruh, see what I'm saying? But all this talk is a good segue into us talking about the future. We've talked about the style selection process and everything, and again, we mentioned in the beginning, you're somebody that shoots high fashion. So to me, that's the epitome of like style and whatnot. So I always look to you as a bar amongst my peers. Actually beyond that, but I'm grateful that you are in my peer group, that I can look at you in that style category as such a bar to get to. So thank you for being a part of this series. I'm glad that you were definitely, available for that. But that brings me to, again, my next section. I wanted to talk about the future, like, what I was saying, what's next?
Yeah.
What's next? What's now?
Yeah.
Now, the photos, again, a lot of those photos were maybe within the last 3 or 4 years. We look 6 years ago. I really think is directing, more directing projects. I want to direct some films, some travel films.
I know that you have directing in your future. I know that's something you really want to pursue, but it's so interesting to me that that's the first thing you say when somebody just received an award for being an actor. I don't know, man. Tell us more about that. What's going on? I'm gonna let you talk, but kudos, my dude. Roses.
No, man, it's been crazy. For some time, and let me just tell the story. For some time, been talking about writing, directing, pretty much producing my own short film, and my first short film, and actually was able to do that and complete it in January, submit to several film festivals just before a pandemic hit. And, right as pandemic hit, I think I was trying to do a screening. And I think that's when everybody got their first notice, like, yo, don't go out. There's cooties out there. So people were shook, and nobody wanted to come out and just be in the midst of all that. So it was a rough start to my first time on a short film circuit. But I will say, when I submitted to Bronze Lens Film Festival, the short film Crossroads did well as far as how well it was received. I won an award for Best Actor. And that's crazy to me, just because I remember back in high school, when we were all in high school, I always split my time between track and field and theater. Those were my two biggest loves. And I always struggled with that. And I remember my junior year, I got excellence in acting in the state of Maryland at the state festival. And then I also was a state champion in the 4x8. So I had my two loves. I was at the highest you could be. And I just remember feeling real full. So it just reminded me, as you fast forward to this moment where I'm kind of in one lane as being a photographer. And then, I was able to kind of succeed at both. And then fast forward to, for the short film, I'm directing, first-time director, and then I decided I want to star in the film, just kind of, I wanted to jump back into it. So I'm like, yo, why wait for a project to jump into when I can produce the thing myself? So that was my biggest drive behind that. I love storytelling no matter what. Sometimes I go off on tangents on this show right here on stories. I just love storytelling. So whatever medium I can use to tell a story, whether it be my physical body telling a story, acting out a script, or whether it be directing a project that I wrote, I just feel honored and grateful that I was, to be honest, I think the most grateful feeling is I had to fight myself a lot throughout that whole process of producing the project. A lot of doubt, self-doubt, a lot of just uncertainty. So, some of those nights after production, I was beating myself up like, man, is this going to be good? Is it going to be, man, I wonder how well it will be received. So to get that award, it was just like, bro, like a reminder, a testament. You got to do the things that scare you the most, because that's when you evolve. Like now that I've done that, I want to do something bigger and better.
Do you have any projects that you're working on right now, or ideas for things? And, how can we help?
Yeah, I'm always working on photo projects, photo stories, James Shoots and Draws series. Those are the things that are always actively in my mind, just because I can be inspired by the smallest thing that, I want to do this. I'll pretty much conceptualize that idea, put it on the shelf, and say, I'll come back to this in a week. But as far as the bigger projects, I'm working a lot more on scripts, as far as working on writing a pilot of kind of a dramedy, and I want to pitch that to a network. If you ask me what's down the pipeline in 2 weeks, it may be 2 more projects. So it's I always like to just keep setting up goals and achieving them, and
Indeed.
Well done, man. Well done.
Indeed. Well, you already know we're here for whatever you need, and looking forward to whatever you're putting out. We were there definitely watching, Teen Summit, James, and now we see award-winning James in different, and I know it's only going to be more. So I'm looking forward to it. Whenever I have another opportunity to like include the community and involve dope photographers, I'm going to reach out to you guys, and then the community as well.
Thanks. Well, I appreciate the love, y'all. Always do. Always, it feels good too. Always knowing I got y'all in my corner. So yeah, I appreciate y'all.
Squad, baby. Squad.
Again, James, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for taking time out to be on the show. This episode is a part of a 5-part mini interview series of Shooting with Shooters. This has been another episode of Shooting with Shooters. Thank you, James, for taking out some time to be on the show out of your busy schedule.
Thanks, bro.
This is a part of a 5-part interview series with all the photographers that were involved in Union Market. If you are in DC, definitely check out Union Market DC, the Union Market District. There are 25 images throughout the whole market, including myself, James Anthony, Dayo Kasoko, Ashley Bing, and Jeremy Ives. Once again, thanks for watching. I'm Bryon Summers. You can follow me at Bryon Summers on Instagram and any platform out here.
Yo, my name is Dayo Kasoko, aka The Art Hype. You can check out The Art Hype everywhere you can type. So.
And I am James Anthony on all platforms, including Cash App.
Woo! Cash App, the same for me. The Art Hype. Who knows? You might like the way I look.
And look,
I said the way I look, give me $1.
I said I'm Bryon Summers on every platform. Just make sure you spell it right. Bryon. But Shooting with Shooters, of course, at Shooting with Shooters, follow, subscribe, hit that like button, share this video. If you feel like you got something from it, if you just want to share some tips on photography, I feel you just love us.
Shooting with Shooters.